Meldon, head trainer of Jake Wyllie, August 23. Your fighter, Jake Wyllie, takes on Youssef Dib, mate. Big night, big fight. First words, how do you feel?
Mate, excited, mate. It's a matchup we've wanted for a long time, and full credit to Billy and Yui and the boys. They took it with both hands, and I think it's a really exciting fight. It's a great domestic matchup, so looking forward to it.
Fantastic. You were last in the ring with Jake against Cambosis, March 31st, was it? I think. You know,
March 22nd.
March 22nd.
Yeah.
Luke, what do you take out of that fight? Close fight, you know what I mean? Some people say it was it, whatever. But what do you and your team take out of that you can apply to this fight against Youssef Dib?
Mate, a lot of confidence. Like as Jake proved, he's world class, and we've known that for a long time. And I think he showed it that night. A couple of little adjustments. I think we would have won the fight. I think he just started a little bit slow. Was a little bit leaky in defence early on, and we've addressed that in camp, and I think you'll see a different animal come 23rd of August. He's ready to roll, fixed up a few of those leaks. So.
Talk about the opponent, Youssef Dib, who's come off a loss against Liam Wilson in a fight that I thought was absolutely a barn burner.
Yeah, electric. It's electric.
Piata, shout out to the guys that put it on and that. But what do you take from that without exposing too much? Game plans and whatnot. What do you think of Youssef Dib, and what do you personally know a lot about him?
Mate, he went right up in my estimation. Even though he lost, he showed he had a huge heart, world class skills, and a real genuine grit and will to win. I thought he showed a lot of balls that night, and yeah, mate, his stocks went up for like Jake in his loss against George. I think Yui's stocks rose even though he lost to Liam. He's a serious operator.
We spoke to Jake earlier today, and obviously this fight is at 140 pounds. Jake said, "Nick, I'm going to probably fight, at 135 after this fight."
Yeah.
Is that sort of a plan that you and your team know that just how strong he is and how fit he is? We know how fit he is, but moving forward, that you've seen some things in camp where, hang on, Jake, we can probably get in there with a guy that's smaller, and that will be to your advantage.
Yeah, definitely, mate. He's mate, just ticking all the boxes now. He's a really professional, really complete fighter. He's eating right, he's training right, and naturally his weight's coming down. So I always thought he had what it took to make some noise internationally, and I think to do that would he'd have his best opportunity if he went down to lightweight, which I think he's going to be a big, strong, serious contender in lightweight. And there's plenty of exciting fights there in that division. Yeah.
Every fighter, every team, every trainer, every manager thinks that they're going to go and win this fight, and you guys are the same, and shout out to you guys. He's spoken about Josh Padley today. There was some rumours 5-6 weeks ago that it was going to be Wyllie versus Padley. Both have similar sort of stories, taking fights on short notice and winning the world over. Jake, I thought fight week down in Sydney was absolutely tremendous.
Yeah.
His stocks went up. Shout out to Eddie as well. Eddie promised him something, and he fulfilled that.
Oh mate, yeah, Eddie Hearn was true to his word. He stayed in contact the whole time and knew that we knew we'd get an opportunity. We knew Eddie's word was good, and mate, and to his credit, he's made this happen, and what a night to have it on the 40th anniversary of the gym. So it's very exciting.
Getting back to Padley though.
Yep.
Padley's one. I know you're focusing on Youssef Dib.
Yep.
But is Padley one that you'd like to see a big fight, and you're willing to go over the UK and take him on?
Oh, definitely, mate. Definitely. Style-wise, I think it really suits Jake. I love how Padley stands there and trades and has a crack and likes to sit in the pocket, and that's where Jake's at his best. So that was another reason they thought get him down to lightweight, and Padley's got rankings in most of the big organisations now. He's in the top 10, I think, in all four divisions. So I think that's the natural. It'd be not the natural step, but that'd be a great next step for Jake to make his mark on the world scene.
Jake's 17-2. He's still pretty young. People. You can't sleep on this guy. He's had 19 pro fights.
Yep.
2 losses, one night, which we know about. We won't go into.
Yep.
Well, we can go into if you want. He came out very, very cold.
Yep.
There was some massive distractions outside of the ring and what going on. Close,
mate, that was a blessing in disguise. Now looking back on it, yeah, okay. Mate, it was no, you never want to see one of your boys get beat, but he come back into the gym. He was back in on the Monday, and it's just a different kid, and he's really hit some heights since then. Like he didn't sulk, he didn't pack it up, he didn't be a sook about it. He got in, knew he had to take it a bit more seriously, and that's what he's done, and the results are on the board now.
And then I'm going to get into the history shortly, but you've been around it at the highest level. You know, when I go back to Fletch taking on Danny Jacobs in New York City,
Yep.
you know, I mean, you've seen it. I know you're pro Wyllie. How far can you take this kid in? You know, I mean, how far do you think he can go off the other guys compared to that you've been around seeing?
Mate, I honestly, and I know all the trainers say, I honestly can see Jake winning the world title. Like, he's still extremely, he's still getting better every week in the gym. Like some of the stuff he's doing in sparring and training, and he hasn't shown that all in the ring yet, but he's showing glimpses of it. And I think his age, his attitude, his power, I think it all heads towards a world title. And that's what we're shooting for.
Let's talk about August 23 now. We can't mention Fortitude Boxing without mentioning this man's name, Steve Della.
Yeah,
1980
legend.
legend, 1985. Him and his partner started the gym, and I've got to say it on camera, I didn't know there was a gym before Kiamba. You're telling me there was another one around the corner?
Steve, he didn't have a partner. He's just he was the head coach at the police club in the Valley. So he started
85?
in 1985. So that's when he first started boxing in Fortitude Valley. And
when did they move to Kiamba?
we opened the gym. That's when I became partners with him in 2008.
Yep.
And before that, we were training in a businessman's gym, like a private setup. But we started attracting more and more fighters. We had Jared Fletcher, then all his mates came on board, Todd Kidd and a few of the Olympians from that year. And all of a sudden, we had a bit of a growing stable. James Giltro, Australian welterweight champ, and so we had to do something a bit more commercial. So we opened Kyopa Street and haven't looked back since.
What year did you open that?
2008.
Yeah, 2008. So before that, it was at the old one. Obviously, unfortunately, you know that gym got burned down, and obviously, you know, some things happened there. But what does it mean to you, and how quick has the time gone? Like you first came with Steve in 1991.
Yeah.
2025. All of a sudden, like I was talking to Eddie last night, 40-year history. You know, what I mean, it's a monumental night.
Yeah, it's yeah, mate, it's crazy. It's gone quick, but at the same time, gone slow. You know, but God, what a ride. You know, just me and Steve often have a laugh and say, you know, it's not the type of profession you take on to be rich, but experience-wise, we're the richest men in the world. As you said, you know, I've been around the world, fought in lots of big, I've been involved in lots of big cards, and been Argentina, America, bloody New Zealand, Monte Carlo, France, all over the place. And mate, I wouldn't change a thing. I've loved every second of it.
Does that add a different pressure that night, or do you sort of just block it out? Like when I was talking to Steve yesterday on the phone, he was very proud about it, and you know, I mean, what a massive night for him and all this sort of stuff. And I think you will sell it out really, really quick. I think, you know, I mean, the growth that you've got around this city and Brisbane, and the respect that you guys have got, I think they're all going to come out for it. But do you think on that night you'll reflect on it, or is it more like, hang on a minute, we've got a job to do, we need Wyllie to do a number on Youssef Dib?
Me and Steve had a sit down and spoke about the 40th anniversary at the start of the year, and spoke about doing the big fight night. We originally looked at a couple of different venues, and we were going to stick on the home ground and go to Fortitude Music Hall, but we're trying to marry the two things together, a celebration of the gym and also a really good entertaining fight night. And we realised that we couldn't do both, so that for us, the night's going to be all about the fighters and the fights, and that's going to be our main concern. It's going to be a great night for the people, enjoy it, but we're going to have a little bit of a get-together later in the year, probably at the gym, and swap some stories and and have a few drinks and swap some stories and show some old footage of all the different places and different fights we've been involved with and different fighters. And
there's a lot of history in there.
A lot of history, mate. Like I think, mate, we were working out the other day. I think Steve's trained over 35 Australian champions, which has got to be a record. I know Keith Ellis had 31, so I think Steve's just gone past him, you know, so it's some effort. And you look at some of the blokes he's trained, they're some really serious fighters, you know, so he's got a lot to be proud of.
Mate, you're involved in so many different fighters here. I want to talk about one guy that's, you know, down there, and he's hitting the heavy bag very, very out. Connor Wallace, you know what I mean? There's a lot of talk about him, hopefully in the end of the year, getting that mandatory world title shot. You know, he's in an unbelievable division, but obviously you're pro Wyllie, but what do you see in Connor Wallace, and how far can he go?
Mate, he's mate, it's all the pieces are just falling into place almost perfectly. Bibble got sent a letter last week from the IBF, giving him 21 days to respond about fighting a mandatory, which he's due for. His mandatory is a German. He's ranked number 1. Connor's ranked number 2. You couldn't imagine Bibble fighting German. He's not quite as well known as some of the other opponents that on the table for Bibble. So hopefully, if it all goes to plan, and he vacates the belt, we're next in line. It's 1 versus 2, and mate, going through all the fighters in that division, style-wise, firstly, it's a great fight, and second, a really winnable fight, and God, wouldn't that open some doors? Having part of that light heavyweight world title puzzle, you know, like there's Bivol, there's Beterbiev, there's Benavidez, there's Morel, there's some big names, you know, so some potential super fights there too, so very exciting.
Australian boxing, Irish boxing, we've got to give a shout out to Irish boxing because Connor is, but we sort of claim him as an Aussie now, but a big fight's coming up next weekend, Sunday week your time, Tim Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora versus Tszyu, the rematch for the WBC 154 title, the controversy from last year, you know, I mean, lots of different moving parts. How do you see it, Lukey, and can Tim Tszyu get it done and bring that world title back?
I think so, mate. It's really good to see him shake the cobwebs off against Joey Spencer, was his name?
Joey Spencer?
Yeah, the other week. He looked unreal in it. Like I thought what a bounce back, you know. He looked patient and he just looked methodical, you know. So I got every faith in him winning. It's never going to be easy against Fundora. Like, his physical attributes are really unique, but I think you saw at the start of that fight, before the head clash, that Tim kind of looked like he had his measure, and to his credit, he showed a lot of balls and fought through that cut, and
warrior, right?
Unbelievable, you know. And but I think watching the bounce back fight, I think he's deserves to be favourite coming into this one.
Didn't ask Jake this, but I'm keen to ask you this because you're a head trainer, you've been around a long time, you've seen a lot of things. Cambosis versus Hitchens Cambosis just recently.
Yeah.
What do you think of that and how it all went down? Is it the same George Cambosis? You know, has the hunger gone? You know, you did 12 rounds with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was taken out in the 8th round. What did you think of that? Watching that, and you know, keen to hear your thoughts on what you saw.
Mate, I've always been a huge fan of George, and mate, that hasn't changed. Like, watched him the other night against probably, I reckon he's the best fighter in the division. Hitchens. Yeah, and mate, just to see, he didn't stop trying right to the end. Like, you see him get back onto his feet after getting dropped with that body shot, and even when he got hurt, and just the way he stayed up, and mate, he's got a heart bigger than Farlap, and I knew style-wise it was always going to be a hard night against Hitchens. It's going to be a hard night against anyone. He's got one of the best jabs in boxing, and but mate, I think George turned up in shape and showed a genuine world-class hunger and will to win, and just got
Just Hitchens just too good.
Yeah, just got beat on the night. Styles didn't gel, and he caught him with a good body shot, and fair play to him, hit him in the same spot that Loma did, and he'd done his homework and got him out of there. So.
Hitchens is in your division with Jake Wyllie. Jake's spoken about going down to 135, but how far you think Hitchens in 140 can clean a lot of those other guys out? I know some of them could stay at 40 and they could go up to 47. You know, we've seen Haney go up, Lopez potentially might be going up, but there's some other moving parts there. You know, I mean, Liam Parra, shout out to him just recently.
Yeah, he looked unreal the other night.
Yeah, he looked good against Navarro, but this Hitchens, how good can he be? And do you think, does anyone beat him at 140?
Nah, mate, I thought that probably Tio would probably have the best bet, Lopez, but I hear he's going up. There's some good fights for him at 147, so whether he sticks around or not, that'd be the fight. I reckon that's 1 versus 2. I think Tio's come back into the equation after that last fight. He looked unbelievable, but he had a couple of so-so performances before that, but he looks like he's back in business and back to his best. So, mate, that'd be that'd be the fight to see who's the king of the division, I reckon.
No worries, mate. Well, thank you so much for catching up with us. August 23, Wyllie versus Youssef Dib.
And mate, just quickly, I know you alluded to I've been involved in some big fights and been around it for a long time, but without piss in your pocket, this is a bit of a career highlight. To be on Fight Hype, legend himself. Mate,
fuck that. We can't talk about us. It's all about you guys, mate. It's not about
you
us.
Talk, mate. There's levels.
Yeah. I got all my notes here. See all the notes. Thanks, Lukey.
No worries, mate.
Cheers, mate.